So we're on a fast inside of the membership. I've got the girls on a little 24-hour fast, and just before I started the live, my screen's completely froze, so I don't know what's happening. But yeah, just before I started this live, I was in the kitchen and I poured myself. I was making a little ginger green tea, and I started pouring the water, and then I was like, fuck, I'm on a fast, so I couldn't even drink it. But yeah, I didn't drink it. Don't worry girls, I didn't break it, it's okay. Oh, everybody's joining now. Hi Claire, my love. Hi Emma, I have no idea how I ended up on this live, but I trust divine timing, that's what I say. Like, loads of people was messaging me and they was like, I didn't even know that you was going live. And I was like, you just wasn't meant to be there. But yeah, so we're on a fast inside of the membership with the girls. And I'm so proud of the girls because a lot of them have never fasted before, it's the first time. So 6 p.m. tonight until 6 p.m. tomorrow. I remember the first time that I'd done a 24-hour fast and I struggled so much. It was actually with Hakeem, I'd done it with him, and I couldn't do it. And I got to like about 18 hours, I think it was, and I was messaging him and he ended up getting on a Zoom with me. And I was just like, I'm done. I can't keep going with this fast. He was like, you can, just keep going, just keep going. And I was like, I can't, I'm fucking starving. I'm actually starving. So dramatic. And then, yeah, I broke it. And then from there, I've just built up and built up. Longest I've done is like 90 hours, I think it was. But I want to do a 7-day fast, which is why every month I do a 72-hour fast with the mindset to build up to a 7-day one. So yeah, I want to get the girls involved in that as well. So we'll start off 24 hours and then the next challenge I'll be like, let's do a little 48 one, and then we'll work up like that. But hi everyone who's here to my little Wisdom Wednesdays. So I think if you're here, there might be a little message for you, which we all love, an aligned message with where you are on your journey, because I'm holding a session inside of the membership on Sunday around the masculine wound and how it plays out in relationships, and how like we have this red flag in a man and we think it's them when actually it's just us and our trauma and our childhood wounds just playing out. So I was going to come on and like talk a little bit about that. Now what happened is I recorded a podcast the other day, and I called it, the title came to me when I was driving to London to do my event, and I called it From Depressed to Delusional. I was so happy with the name. I was like, oh my god, that is literally me. Like, I was literally the most depressed victim that you've ever met in your life, and then now I'm the most delusional person that you'll ever come across. So that was the title of the podcast. So then this morning I was I just edit it on CapCut. Like, I don't edit it, I just like mess about with it, and then I was getting ready to upload it and I just got this message, and it was like, do you know what, Catherine, what you're talking about here is like so good, I love it, like I absolutely love everything that you're saying, but I feel it would hit your audience even more if it was live and you just talked about it like you're talking to your best friend. And I feel that's the pull that I'm getting now with my content and just with who I am, and even like on my stories and stuff. And I think what it is because of all this AI and just Instagram is just so superficial and just not real, and you have to question everyone, especially like healers and coaches, because you know those captions and that wisdom that they're sharing isn't even theirs, it's ChatGPT. So I'm just questioning everything, and I feel like my guard is like up here, like I'm not letting anyone in. I spoke about it on my last live, but recently came out of a membership and stopped working with a coach because it was just all AI, and it was too much for me. So I think I want to, hi Vicky, my darling, I had a feeling you'd be here. Like, I actually did have a feeling. yeah, I'm not going to upload that podcast. I might save it for a later date, but I want to speak to you about what I was actually talking about in that podcast, which I feel if you're somebody who is at a place in your life where you're where you're on your build, you're building the foundation and you're not yet living the results. This is how I done it. Like, this is literally my mindset of what I did. And I'm gonna keep an eye on the comments as well. But yeah, this is literally my mindset of what I did and how I did it. And I hope that like this can really open you up to a different perspective of how you're living right now is going to be the message. Like, I want you to check in with how you actually are living in comparison to what I say, and how to be aligned with. My screen keeps freezing and it's actually like sending me head a bit west. Yeah, how it's aligned with like basically what you need to be doing instead of what you are doing. And like, it's not about judging yourself, don't be calling yourself out and whatever, but it's like, oh yeah, I need to start doing that. So a big thing for me is the power of living in the end, and that's what I had to start doing. I had to literally disconnect from this 3D world that was showing me just lack and limitation, and you know, nothing's happening in your business, and how are you going to do this? And it's like the focus of the how, and that's where a lot of us end up staying stuck, because we're trying to figure out the how, but the how is never our business. The how is nothing to do with us. The how is up to God. Like, you give that shit to the universe. The how, the where, the when, the what, the why, the doors that need opening, all of that isn't on you. Your duty and where you come in and where your power lies is literally figuring out the who. Who do I need to be in order to be in alignment with this life that I want? Like, who do I need to feel into every single day? Like, no days off. This is about identity in order to live that life. So in the podcast that I recorded, I was driving to London. I'd done an event in London on Saturday, and it was absolutely incredible. Like, honestly, it was so good. And as I was driving there, I was really feeling into this version of me who, back when I used to do aesthetics and I had my salon and I had my training academy, and I got this pull to do this work to help women on their journeys, and I never actually received the message to do it as a business. That was never a message that I ever received, not once. It was, this is what you love to do, so why not just do it? Like, this is what you're doing anyway, you're doing this work anyway, so why just not put it out there? And maybe like there's women out there who were like, fuck it, I'll give that a go. And that was always my energy behind putting everything out there that I did. It was never from, it has to be this or it has to be that. There was never expectation. It was just, it was something that I wanted to do, not that I needed to do, because I had my business and that was my money, that was my income. So I started putting these circles on, like that's where it started. I started doing them in my salon. And then I just had the vision, like after the first one, the way that it made me feel and the way like it literally lit every single piece of me up inside. And I was like, oh my God, like this feels so in alignment with who I am. I want to do it again. I want to do it again and again and again. And I remember like shutting the shutters on me salon and being like, wow, like this multi 6-figure business that I run and I have built up has never once gave me the feeling that circle that I probably made like £100. I've never had that feeling before in my aesthetics business. And this circle gave me a feeling that I've never actually experienced before, ever, not once. It's a feeling that I've never, ever, ever felt in my life. And that's the feeling that I held on to. and then I put another one on, and then I put another one on, and then let me just read that comment. Girl, I've not moved today. I've been woke up like I had a run, a marathon. I've been so tired after last night's session. My body was like, you're not moving today. Integrate that shit that you just let go of. Yeah. I've spoke to a few of the girls who was on last night's session, and they're like, oh my god, someone had to take the day off work. But yeah, integration is where it's at. Just listen to your body. Are you doing the fast, Vic? Are you on the fast with us? I don't feel too bad today, but normally after one of those sessions I'm drained. So sorry, I need to read in the comments. Yeah, so that then became this vision for me then, and I was like, okay, I feel like this could be something, but I don't know what it is. And there's no way that when I received that feeling in my heart space, which was the Holy Spirit, it wasn't a feeling of, this is going to be a business, this is how I'm going to make money, oh my god, like this is going to pay for my mortgage, now I need to leave that business and that training academy, and I need to get out of the lease, and then I need to make a new Instagram page, and then this needs to be my life, and how am I going to make it happen, and who am I going to speak to, and what if it doesn't sell, and I didn't do that. And that's what a lot of us do. Like, I speak to women all of the time. We have girls in my membership. We want the how. We want it all mapped out. I've never done that once. I just trusted in the feeling. This feels nice, and I'm just going to follow it. And I just very slowly and patiently followed the breadcrumbs, and I stayed in my heart space. I never left my heart space. I never made it into anything that it wasn't. And I stayed rooted in that feeling. I trusted in the feeling. So then what happened was, because I did just follow my heart, and I followed the breadcrumbs, and there was no pressure and there was no expectations, what was happening was I was then becoming a magnet to everything that I wanted, because I wasn't in a place of need. I was just in a place of, this feels so good that I'm all in and I want more of this. It was always a want. But I let the energy stay in the frequency of, this feels so nice, and it feels like it's in flow, and there's no force and there's no pressure. And then what happened was, my circles would just sell out like that. I'm talking within a 10-minute post, and obviously I only had 20 spaces because we only had they was fitting in the salon, so spaces was limited. It's mad for this version of me now, who's literally just got back from London and held an event, to be telling this story of when I used to do it in my salon. Like, that is crazy for me, but that is where it started. And they'd sell out really quick, and then I'd get people travelling to me. That was the next thing. So that lit something up in me, and I was like, I'm getting girls travelling to me. Right, this means that I want girls from all over. I don't just want my hometown. I just want, like, people, it's on here. Someone just messaged me saying I can't log into tonight's live, but there's no logging in. It's not on my membership. Everyone thinks that it's in my membership. The amount of messages that I've got today, thinking that these sessions are in my membership, so that you have to pay, and you don't. They're just on here. So I need to stay focused. I keep reading the messages and then I go off on one. So yeah, that was literally what started happening for me. And then, obviously, as you all know, the transition was then that when the timing was right, it was time to just let go of the old life, of the old business, of the old me. But it wasn't from a place of force. It was just, I'm ready now, and I need to let this go. And for a while, for a few months, when I received the message that I need to release my salon, the training academy, the money, the students, the reputation, the models, the clients, my whole life. Like, you know, this was my life, this salon. And I didn't want to. And I was too scared to, because I stayed in my head and I was like, but what if I let it go? And then this doesn't, you know, I've got a son at the end of the day, and I bring him up by myself. I don't get anything from his dad or anything. So it was like, what if She can't get on the live. It's not. Oh, there you are. Oh my god, how funny. No, babe, I done a 16-hour one yesterday, as I've got a 24-hour urine test going on today, so I don't want ketones. Yeah, love that. Yeah, we'll do one again anyway. We'll do one again soon. Hi Amanda, my love, nice to have you here. I'm just telling the story about when I transitioned from my salon into my business. So, anyway, I keep losing my train of thought. So, I'm just not going to read the messages now so that I can give you this delivery. So then, I was in fear because I was trying to work it out logically from my mind. And then what happened was the stories was coming in, and the stories was telling me, well, if you let this salon go, then what if, you know, you can't pay your bills? What if, like, it doesn't work out for you? What if it just doesn't work? And then what are you going to do? Like, make an announcement and be like, oh, false alarm girls, I'm back now in my business. And then I was like, yeah, that is what I'm going to do. If it doesn't work out, then I'll just go back into aesthetics. I'll just go and get another salon. I'll just build the business again because I've done it before, so I can do it again. So I challenged the fear. I challenged the voice that was trying to tell me that you can't do this. That voice wasn't mine. That was probably my mum's when I was a kid. That was probably that teaching in school. That was probably a grandparent or somebody in my childhood. That voice wasn't mine. So then I sat with the fear of worst case scenario, and sometimes that's where we need to take it. Because when we sit in the fear of not wanting to face it and like, oh, I don't really want to think about that, well, sometimes you just got to and be like, okay, well, let's say that it does all go to shit. Let's say that I fucked this salon off, fucked my business off, made the announcement, refunded everybody the money back, went all in with my healing business and what I want to do and what my soul's purpose is and what my soul is crying out for, like this feeling within me, whatever, followed that, and it didn't work out and nobody booked on and nobody was interested and I didn't make any money and I couldn't pay my mortgage and I couldn't buy my son's tuner and I couldn't pay for his gym and I lost everything. Like, what then? And it was like, well, you just go back to aesthetics. You'd just make an announcement. You'd just start doing lips again. You'd get it back because you've already got the evidence that you can do it. You've already built your wealth container of being able to hold that amount of money. My nervous system feels safe in the amount of money that I was holding. So you'd just go back on your build and you'd do it all over again. And then you'd be like, wow, that was an adventure, wasn't it? That I left my business and tried something new, but then had to go back to old. And then something new might come along again. And this is, honestly, girls, the power of having your own back. This is the power of having a healed masculine within. Because my masculine has created so much safety for me. Because I've got myself. So it's not like a feeling of, like, oh, well, I'd just lose everything and then I'd be rock bottom because it's thanks to him that I've got this house, and it's thanks to my mum and dad because they're the ones who bought me the salon, and it's thanks to this person because they helped me out and they helped me with my business and they've done this, and I've never outsourced my energy. It's all been me. I'm self-made, I'm self-built. So that creates a level of safety and trust that I've got me. So even if it didn't work out, then I'll figure it out because I always have done, and I've already got the evidence that tells me that. So let's just risk it and see what happens. And that is genuinely how I went into that season of my life when I let that salon go, when I let that business go. I was like, we're just going to have to figure it out. And it's going to be okay because I've got me. And I'm not just going to walk away from myself. I'm going to give this me all. And I stayed in my heart space. And then what I done was, and what I still do to this day, and what happened with the London event, I live from the end. So I knew that I wanted to take this all over the country. I want to take it worldwide. I will take it worldwide. I've already seen the vision. I've already sat in it. I've already felt the experience. I already know within me, like, this will be worldwide. I believe every woman all over this world needs this work. I do. I'm very, very strong and passionate about that. For me, it's like, you know, if you had the cure to cancer and you could help everyone who's got cancer, would you be shouting it from the rooftop? Would you be going all in? Would you be putting your message out there? Would you be non-stop going all in to help everyone who needs that cure for cancer? You would. Well, I believe this can cure so much more. Like, every single, like, to heal from the inside out it's what will change this world, and it's what will, the main outcome is our next generation. So I treat it that way. I don't treat it like, oh, well, you know, I just want to be on the little stages and just doing little circles. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do, but that isn't in me. I believe that this is going to be big. So I live from the end in the mindset of, like, when I was driving to London, I was acting as if, energetically, that I was driving to the airport and I was about to get a flight. And I'm about to go on tour all over the world, and there's women there waiting to just do this work, and I'm waiting to just deliver it to them, and their lives are never going to be the same again. And that's the frequency that I live in. And that's why things are happening in my life, because I'm already in it. So really feel into, like, where you play small and where you hold yourself back. And where are you trying to be realistic? I feel that's the worst advice that anyone can ever give you, is to be realistic, because then you live in this 3D world, but this 3D world isn't real. The unknown is real. The unseen is real. This isn't real. You create from up here, and then it becomes a manifestation in the 3D. But when you live from the end, you get to experience that version of you in the now. But there's no evidence, there's nothing telling me that I'm going to be worldwide. There's nothing telling me that I'm going to be going to an airport and getting on an aeroplane and being flew across the country to stand on a stage. Nothing at all is telling me that. But I believe it and I live it. And that's how I show up. So when I showed up to the London event, I shown up like these have travelled from everywhere to come and see me. And I just stay in that. And that's what your life gets to be. But when you attach to the numbers and the money and nobody's booking on, and how is this going to work, and what if it doesn't work out, and then all this fear comes, then you're just going to live in that. And the universe is always a yes. So then you're not going to get the people booking on. You're not going to get the people buying into you. Your life is just going to be whatever it is. Because this world will reflect back to you what you believe to be true. So if you believe that not many people are going to book on, not many people are going to buy my courses, not many people are going to read my book, not many people are going to listen to my podcast, that's going to be your reality. That's why it's so important to ignore your reality. I ignore this reality. I do. Like I say all the time to my girls in my membership, like, no matter what and who's on my live or how many girls turn up or who buys the whatever it is in terms of numbers, I always add a 0. So if there's like 30 people, I add a 0, 300 people. If there's like 100 people at an event, I add a 0, 1,000 people at my event. I disconnect from this reality. Has anybody got any questions about that? Because I know it can be quite confusing. Like, when I was, somebody that I studied at the very start was Neville Goddard. I love his teachings. He's not for everyone because his voice is very, like, boring. He's got a boring voice, but oh, he's on it, and I love his books as well. I've got my bookshelf here in front of me. I'm just trying to think of the You Can Be Prosperous. That's a good one. But his teachings are about that. He teaches living from the end. He teaches how to disconnect from reality and literally living your own reality. And that is like a superpower. when it comes to manifestation. You can't manifest from what's real and what's true right now, what you see as real and true. So like the credit card debt, the fact that no one's booking in with you, the fact that your business is slow, the fact that you're struggling to make ends meet. You can't manifest from that place because you're just going to keep yourself stuck. You've got to tap out. You've got to come out of all this and be like, right, the version of me who doesn't have the credit card debt, whose business is flying, who's doing events in London, who's selling out products, who's doing this, who's living this life, whatever it is that you want, how would she feel every day? How would she show up? How would she allow the world to see her and be in that feeling now? It's not acting and like, you know, the whole fake it till you make it thing. I'm not really about that. I'm about embodiment. I embody the version of me who travels all over the world delivering this work. I embody her. I don't fake it. I don't walk around pretending to be like something that I'm not on some high horse. I embody it. I embody that version of me. How would she show up? How would she feel about life? Would she be complaining because, you know, the waiter come out and got their order wrong and then it's the end of the world and then get in like this shitty mood? No. It's not that serious. Like the little things that we do, would it be going off my head because I'm stuck in traffic? Like I went to the gym this morning with my son and there was a learner car in front of us at the traffic light and she just couldn't get the bite and she just kept stalling and we went through the traffic lights changed 3 times. And I just had my music on and I was just like, alright. But old me would have been like, oh, for fuck's sake, I would have been fuming. I would have probably like took over it. But I was just in it. I was like, it's not that serious. And these are the things, like how fast you tap out of vibration. How quickly are you to literally come out of that frequency and drop into a lower vibration. I do everything delusional. I even think delusional and it always works out. I was looking at buying that book last week. There's your sign, sister. Go and buy the book. Right, Vicky, those people that you're tagging in this live, I don't think they'll be able to see it if they're not in the group. They have to add the group to be able to see these posts. But if they're in the group, they can see it. But I want to tell you the story that just came to me. When I bought my house. Like, this is a good story, you'll like this. Let me keep an eye on the time. So, I went from, there's a build up here, let me give you some context. And I know you all love a story. Every time I tell a story, I always get loads of messages like, oh my God, I really needed that. And that's the thing with stories, you can resonate, can't you? So, let me just go back. So, I had nowhere to live, blah blah. Lived with my mum in that little box room. And then I got accepted for the council house. And that was the best day of my life. And I'm not even joking. I've never felt that feeling, even when I got the keys to this house, which is like my dream home. I've never felt that feeling, what I felt when I got the keys to that council house. Oh my God. So I'm living in this council house, yeah. And my business is doing really well. I just hit multi-6 figures that year. Year 2, I went into multi-6 figures. So I'm in this council house. And I've got a shit credit. Because I was one of them who would get I can't even think what fucking catalogues I used to get out now. I'd get a catalogue out, order shit, not pay it. Then I'd go with Virgin Media, get shit off them, not pay it. Then I'd get something from Sky, not pay it. So my debt was shit debt. You know, like when people get in debt, it's something to worth to foot your credit card, your credit score up for. Mine wasn't. Mine was pathetic. So I had all these CCJs just from not paying for a £20 bed quilt. Literally, I ordered studio catalogue. I owed them £20 for a bed quilt. Didn't pay it. ended up going on for 3 years, took me to court, got a CCJ. So my credit was shit, but it wasn't like, yeah, but I had a good time spending that money. No, it was pathetic. It was just literally, I owed money to like Sky, Virgin Media, parking fines, Pure Gym got me a CCJ. So anyway, I had really bad credit. The first year of my business, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's okay, I think, I hope. I just didn't register anything. I was just cash. Didn't, like, no tax, nothing like that. I need to shut up talking, really, don't I? But you get what I mean. So as far as like my business looked, I only had 1 year of business. And I just started putting money in my account because it was cash. And then I realised that if I want to be like getting mortgages and nice cars, I need to be putting shit through the bank. So I'm still learning as I go along, you know, it was my first experience of earning money. I didn't actually know what to do with all the money. So I started this little build. So I'm trying to build a little picture here of me and a little council house, and I've got shit credit and I don't know what to do with like having a business. Like I was never, and I'm never, and I'm still not now, this businesswoman who's got it all mapped out. I still haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm terrible when it comes to business. I just wing it, and I say a prayer to my accountant that she just keeps me out of jail for tax. I say that's all I do. But I didn't know what I was doing right, but I had the vision. And I knew that this council house wasn't going to be my forever home. I knew that I was going to buy my dream home. So it wasn't, I'm just going to buy a house for like 150 grand. It was £500,000. That was the number. That was the number. £500,000 will be my first home. That will be the mortgage that I get accepted on. So imagine what are they called? Mortgage providers. Like this man in Warrington anyway, like a mortgage provider. I don't know all the terms and things, everyone's called. So I went to see him and I said to him, right, I'm just about to get a year's books off my accountant. With my accountant, I went and seen her and I said to her, put everything through. Every penny that I've earned this year, and I'd done all my salon up as well and spent like 20 grand doing my salon up, and I said to her, don't put it through. No expenses, because obviously the more that you earn, the higher your mortgage. The higher they'll give you. So I put every penny through. I didn't claim any expenses, any bills, nothing. Like she put everything through for me, which was like a daft business move, but it wasn't, because I wanted to get out of this council house and give my son a nice life. So I had to do what I had to do, basically. I ended up having like a 45 grand tax bill that year, which is just ridiculous. But it was a price that I just had to pay, because I needed to be able to provide the books to say that my business earns this amount of money. And if I started claiming expenses and saying I paid for this and I paid for that, it would have affected the total amount. So she helped me with that. And then I went to see this man in Warrington, right? And proper nice man, like dead like you know, down to earth. And he must have thought I was a loon. And he said, and I basically turned up to him. I said, I'm coming up. It was like a month away from having a year's accounts. So first business, 1 year's books, solo mortgage. I'm on it on my own. Obviously, I'm single as fuck. It's just me on the mortgage. My credit's absolutely terrible. So bad. Credit is absolutely horrendous. What else? But I can do a cash deposit, whatever the amount, and I'm going for a £500,000 mortgage. And he was just like, I remember his face, and he was like, right, okay. And I was like, yeah. He was like, and is it your first house? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, what like most people do is just like build up. So like they'll get like maybe a 250 house and then they'll build up like that. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't want that. I want £500,000. And it was just in my heart space. It wasn't from a place of ego. It wasn't like, I need this, I need that. It was from, I've been through a lot in my life. I've worked so hard to get myself to where I am today. I am deserving of my dream home, and I know how universal law works. I know how I can manifest this from the inside until it is my reality. I know how it all works because I've done it with my salon, getting my salon, which was like basically impossible to get. Like the landlord wasn't letting me have that. I manifested that. Then I manifested the Range Rover. Then I manifested completely renovating the salon. Everything. So I knew I already had this inner confidence of and knowing inside of me that I can make it happen. So then it was a case of everything went through. I had to do a bit of sorting out with me credit score, which was quite easy to do, to be fair. Anyone who's like fucked up the credit score, all I done was rang up all of the companies that I owed money to, paid it all off, and then I got a few credit cards out with high interest and was living off the credit cards but literally paying it the next day. So I'd go and fill my car up £100 diesel, and then the next day I'd just pay it off the credit card. So I was constantly building. So then these credit cards were seeing, yes, she's spending, but look, she's also paying it off, and I built up like this. So that helped me a lot. That was just a bit of advice for anyone. So then I got accepted for a £500,000 mortgage under the conditions that I paid a 20% deposit, and that's what I done. So then it was a case of, okay, well, I need now £106,000 to get this house. I had no evidence of being able to do that. Yeah, I was making money, but I'd got this. So you get a mortgage in principle, and then you start viewing houses. And then when you find your house, then it's all from there. So I went round viewing these houses, these gorgeous houses, and I knew I was going to live in one. I didn't want to go and view the £250,000 houses. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want that to be my reality. So I went and viewed the stunning houses, which you might be like, yeah, but they're out of your league. How are you going to do that? How? So I know that mortgage provider was thinking, how's she going to do this? I didn't want to question the how. I held on to the vision. I held on to the knowing that this was something that I desired. And I believe that from my imagination and from because I am the power, from doing the inner work, I can have this as my reality. And I started living in the end. So I would go to like Wilkinson's and buy the plugins, the pumpkin spice ones. And I'd have them all around my house. And I'm like, when I live in my dream home, this is what it's going to smell like. I'd go to Marxie's and buy gorgeous flowers, like not just like the little £6 bunches, like the £25 bunches, and a gorgeous vase that I got from the Range, and I had that on my dining room table. And I'm like, when I have my dream home, these are the things that I'm going to be doing. I'd buy like the big candles in B&M, so not just the little 1 wick ones for £3. I'd buy like the £7 3 wick ones, and it made me feel so abundant. And I'd light them, and over night time I'd have this little council house, as if acting as if embodying the version of me who lived in my dream home. So then I bought a coffee machine. I'm like, when I have my dream home, I'm gonna have a coffee machine. I went out to the Range, I got all nice mugs. I was like, when I have my dream home, I'm going to have these gorgeous mugs. I got all the bedding from the White Company and like done all my bedroom up, and Keegan had his bedroom. I lived in the end, but in the 3D, as you was viewing my life, I just lived in a council house. But in my mind, I never, and when I'd put the key in the door to this little council house, I'm like, oh, my dream home. And then it would smell like it, and it would feel like it, and I'd cook meals in my kitchen. And back then I used to drink red wine, so I'd have my glass of red wine and I'd be cooking my meals, and I'm like, this is how it's going to feel when I live in my dream home. And listen to me now when I tell you, it's exactly how it felt when I lived in this home, when I got the keys, when I cooked the meals, when I made my morning coffee, when I go out in my garden, when I look out my window, when I put the key in the door. I've already lived it. So my nervous system felt safe in it. It was already my reality, but up here. But I was really living in a council house. Didn't feel no different when I moved in this house, and I swear that on my son's life it didn't. Might have looked different to the outside perspective, but it didn't feel different because I was already in it. I was already so grateful. I'd walk down my stairs in the morning in this council house, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm so grateful. And don't get me wrong, obviously it humbled me massively, living in like the tiny little box room in my mum's house with me little plastic B&M drawers that I used to have to shove mine and my son's stuff in. We literally like had to live in this box room, shared a single bed. So having a council house from that was like living in a mansion. But I never lived in the council house, is the point that I'm making here. I already lived in this home. I already experienced the feeling of it. And that's how we need to live every single day. So like, whether it's your business, maybe you're looking for a home, maybe you want a new car, the car that you drive, act as if, go and get that air freshener, go and get your car valeted. Look after it, pour love into it, make sure like your oil's topped up, and you get, when the diesel light comes on, you go and fill it up. Like, treat it as if. That's how I treated the Corsa when I used to drive around in my little Corsa and drove around with my tea towel, and I'd have to wipe all the condensation off the windows because there was no heating, and I'd hook my speaker up because you couldn't play music in the car. I acted as if I was driving the white Range Rover, and then within 6 months I bought the white Range Rover outright. But I was already driving it in the Corsa, and that's how I live my life. So like that London event, I was already on the stage, and I promise you, I'll be telling you the story of when I am travelling, getting off a flight, and I'm getting my phone out and I'm doing a live, and I'm going, oh, I'm dead tired because I've just flew back from Spain or wherever, holding space for this person or whatever it is. I act as if it's already happening now. I don't let my reality tell me. I don't let this reality tell me what my life is. I create it. Babes, I was adamant after my abuser left that I was not going bankrupt. I built up with a 1-year-old and a newborn baby. Wow. I kept going, and I have worked so hard. I was the same. I could not get a mobile phone on credit. Yeah, my dad had to get mine. Nothing, it was so bad. They were trying to take 80k off me for a home that I lost anyway. Wow. Fast forward to today, my credit score is almost 100%. That feeling is unreal. Wow, that's incredible. Love that. But that's exactly it. But when we stay in the reality of like, oh, it's so hard to build your credit, it's so hard to get a £500,000 house, it's so hard to drive a nice car, then that's going to be your life. But what if it wasn't hard? What if you just lived what you believe to be true? What if it got to be easy? I'll never forget that mortgage provider looking at me like I was crazy, and then I had to get the 106 grand together in 5 months, and I didn't know how I was going to do that. Yet I was making good money off my aesthetics courses because I would charge like 3 grand a course, and I could have like 3 students on a course, but I didn't know that someone was going to book in next month. Like, when you've got your own business, it's so unpredictable, as you know. So you never know, like, 1 week you could be smashing it, the next week no one books in. I didn't know that. Nobody was telling me that. Nobody was telling me, Catherine, you're going to absolutely smash it these next 6 months, and you're going to get that money together, and loads of people are going to book on your courses, and you're going to be... No one said that to me, not once. But I believed it. And I started focusing on the how. How am I going to do this? Oh my God, I need to put offers on. How am I going to get students to book in? I need this amount of money. I just detached from it all, and I was like, it's already mine. That house is already mine. And then I went and viewed the house. And they had it as an office. So downstairs at the back of the house, there's a room with floor to ceiling glass windows. And it just overlooks the garden, and the garden is private, so like the bushes come right up. Nobody can see in my back garden. The bushes come right up, and then there's a massive tree. And it was a sunny day, and I walked in that room, and they had it as like, it was a bit of a mess. It was an office with a desk, and like loads of shelving, and I think they was into accounting and stuff. I don't know, loads of paperwork anyway. And I walked in, and I was like, this is gonna be my meditation room. And at the time I was in aesthetics, don't forget. But I meditated, but I never thought that was going to be where my business was born and built and thrived from back then when I viewed the house. But I knew this is going to be my meditation room, and this is the house. I knew as soon as I walked in. And that was another thing, actually. when I was viewing houses, right, I was going to view these houses and they were gorgeous houses. Oh my God, stunning. And straight away I put an offer in. As soon as I got in my car, that's the one that I want, offering. And then it get declined and someone would go over. So then I'd match them and it was all dead forced. I had the feeling that I was getting and I didn't listen. Didn't listen to my body until it got a few months in and I wasn't getting accepted on the houses because someone was going over my offer and blah, blah, blah. And I just released it and I was like, fuck it. I just need to give this to God and I need to trust. This is asking me to trust because I can't force it. Trying to force buying a house just because I've got the mortgage in principle. I need to just allow it. And then this house came up and my brother sent it me. And he was like, why don't you go and look at this? And I was like, oh yeah, because it's opposite the park. It's a massive park where I live, like beautiful, beautiful park. And I was like, yeah, I'll go and view it. And as soon as I walked in, I knew. And like everything just aligned from there. And if you walk down my road and you literally just turn left, no right, no left, you turn left and then you keep walking down, it's like a 3-minute walk, is the house that I very first got rented when I was pregnant with Keegan at 18 in Allerton Road. And when I put an offer in for this house and I got accepted, I got Keegan in the car and I drove him to Allerton Road and I showed him our house. And I was like, do you remember living there? Because we only lived there for 3 years, but he actually does. He's got memories of stuff, like he remembers once dropping his ice cream down the stairs. That's what he said to me. But it was freezing and it was full of damp. And the neighbours was horrible to me. And I was just this young girl with this baby. And the neighbours were so horrible to me. And you used to have to go all the way around with your bin. So like I used to get scared putting my bin out and you'd have to walk all the way around. And obviously I had the baby, a newborn baby, and I'd have to leave him in the house to go and walk all the way down to take the bin out. It's a memory for me. And it was just always freezing cold. It didn't matter the heating that I had on. It was just a really cold house and it was damp and the bathroom was downstairs and I used to have to bath him and then wrap him up in the towel and leg it through to get to the fire in the living room because it was only in front of the fire that it was warm. And it was a real moment for me because that version of me who lived in that house, and then we drove around the corner and I went to him, see that house there? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you like it? And he was like, yeah, obviously. And I was like, well, I've just bought it. And he was like, no, you haven't. And I was like, I have. And he did not believe me. He didn't believe me. And then when I got the keys, he was in school and it was a Thursday, so he was at his nan's. And I rang him and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm at Mackie's with me nan. And I went, I've just got the keys to that house. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So I went and picked him up from Mackie's and I brought him here. And I said, what room do you want? It's going to make me emotional. And I said, what room do you want? And he went, this one. And he was like, do you promise this is our house and we don't have to move again? Because I've lived in about 5 houses, just kept moving and moving and moving, all like, you know, little terraced houses and stuff that I've always rented. And I was like, no, this is ours, like this is us now. We don't have to move again. Like this gets to be ours, and because I've bought it, we can do whatever we want with it. Because obviously when I was renting, you can't put wallpaper up, you can't do this, you can't do that. I did in the Compton house. But yeah, it was a real like moment for me. But that was an example of what it looks like to live in the end. I knew that was going to be my reality. I didn't let no mortgage advisor, no accountant, no financial advisor, nobody was telling me that I couldn't make that come to fruition, because I knew that I did. Then quick story, dead quick, a week before it went through, so you have solicitors, right? So I am very real to the point. I might look dodgy and sound dodgy, like when I talk about the tax and that, but I'm just so innocent with it. I haven't got anything to hide. Do you understand what I mean? I'm actually not a dodgy person. So I thought that you could just go to the bank with 20 grand cash, which is from my students. Think about this, right? So say if I got 5 students in a week and they're all paying 3 grand and they all want to pay cash. So then I've got 20 grand, right? So I've got this 20 grand and I went to my bank, which is in St. Helens. I walked in with 20 grand cash and I was like, can I put this in my account? And they were like, yeah. So I'm stood there waiting for it to be like, yeah, it's gone through, so that I could then transfer it over to the solicitor, because it was the week before the keys was getting transferred. And the next minute, this man comes out in a suit and he was like, Catherine Worsley? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, can you come with me, please? And my son was in the car. And I was like, yeah. And it was the fraud investigation team. And I had to have an interview on where I got this £20,000 from. Right. Which obviously I could prove. And it was all taxed. So then my accountant had to get involved and she had to do a letter to say, like, we've put this amount of money through on her tax return because she gets 50% cash, 50% bank, whatever. So then that all got passed with the bank. They were fine about it. And then the next day I get a phone call from the solicitors. And they was like going on about money laundering. And they was just like, we're sorry, but we just couldn't take you on as a client. I was like, are you having a laugh? It was a week before. And in that moment, I had a boyfriend at the time. And I was at his house. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I put the phone down, I went, the solicitors have just rang and said that they're pulling out. And he was like, why? And I was like, because they think I'm money laundering. Because I put 20 grand in the bank. And like the fraud investigation team got involved and blah, blah. And he was like, oh my God, this means like you're not going to get the house. Like, you could go to jail, like money laundering is so sick. And I could feel his energy trying to like come into my body. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm not having this conversation with you. I was like, respectfully, like that isn't my mindset. That isn't my reality. I'm not getting done for money laundering. I'm not getting done for fraud. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not losing this house. This is just a lesson. And that is how I was seeing it. So I wasn't panicking. I wasn't like, oh, why me? Oh my God, I'm such a victim. Like, why does nothing ever go to plan? Like, why has this happened a week before I'm getting the keys? Maybe it's not meant to be. I was just like, do you know what? Leave this to God. Whatever happens, happens. And then I spoke to my mortgage advisor and he was like, oh, that was another thing actually. The mortgage that allowed me to get the house who took me on, the interest rates are through the roof because they specialise in solo mortgages and people who haven't had the businesses long. So I was so lucky in getting this mortgage, and my mortgage advisor was like, what you need to do is wait a year. This was it. You need to wait a year to get another year books, build your credit up, be in a better position, and then go for the $500,000. And I was like, no, I'm not waiting a year. I'm not building no credit up. Like, we've done what we can do with the credit. Let's just put the application in and see what happens. And I was in the co-op car park. I done a story about it on my Instagram. I was in the co-op car park and I got the email saying you've been accepted. I was like, of course I have. No, I wasn't like that. I would fucking cried my eyes out. But I was actually feeling into like, yeah, I know. And then that situation with the money laundering, my mortgage advisor was like, right, ring the solicitors in Blackburn and they might be able to help you. But don't tell them about the other solicitors fucking you off. Just say, I need a solicitor to help me. Don't tell them the story because they won't take you on. So I rang them and lo and behold, she just had a case that was dropped and she had the week free to do this for me because I said to her, I need it. There's no like, so normally it's a 3-month thing like that. I was working with them solicitors for 3 months. And I thought, if I have to go back to another solicitors who have to do all the paperwork and look into this and look into that, these people who are selling me this house are just going to pull out because they're ready to go. They had already packed the house up. The removal van was booked. It was a week before. And then this solicitor, this woman, said to me, do you know what? I've just had this case that has been cancelled and I've got free time and I can do this for you. And she done it. Everything went through and I got the keys on the exact date that I was meant to, and it didn't push me back. Why? Because I didn't feed into the reality, because the reality was telling me, oh my God, like what Jordan was saying, like money laundering is such a serious thing. Like, oh, he started telling me this story, like I know someone who tried to get a house and then they got investigated and they lost the business and everything. I was like, why are you telling me that story? And he was like, because this is real life, Catherine. You need to be realistic. I was like, actually, I don't. Like, actually, I don't have to be realistic, because that's not my life. He was telling me a story about someone who was drug dealing. I'm not a drug dealer. This was legit money from students that I could prove that I didn't do anything wrong. It was just a little test from the universe to be like, you're doing all this mindset work. You're saying that you're living in the end. You're saying that you believe. You're saying that you trust. You're saying that you hold the faith. Well, I'm going to test you to see if you really do hold the faith. And guess what? I held the faith. I told Jordan to shut up. I was like, I'm not having this conversation. I think I went home, actually. It was at his, and I thought, I'm not getting into this. And I just trusted. And that's what I do with everything in my life. I just trust. And I hold the faith, and I walk by faith, not by sight. So nothing in my 3D tells me anything. And then I live it, and then it just becomes my reality. That is how. And that is my answer to everything. It's not about like, go and do this business strategy and go and do this and go and pay for the best website ever and go and get a content creator to help you with your Instagram and all of that. It's not. It's all in here. It's all in your imagination. That is your secret weapon to creating the life that you're destined to live. You get to choose. You don't have to live in this reality. This reality is depressing as fuck. The credit card debt, oh no, that's gone up. Now the interest rates have gone up and my tax bill's higher. Like, my tax bill recently was a lot higher than what I wanted it to be. And I'm in a bit of a situation with it, but I've just let it go. I'm just trusting. It'll all work out. It always does. I'm not going to feed into the fear. I'm not going to feed into the lack and the limitation and the you say, you can't do this and you can't live this life. Because why do they get to have that life? Why does she get to be successful? Why is he smashing it? Why is money infinite and the universe is so abundant and we can have what we want? We're here to experience it all. But I'm telling myself a story that's keeping me on lockdown, that I have to drive that car and I have to live in that house and I have to stress about the tax and I have to stress about money and I have to cry about the credit score and the credit card bills and all of that. Like, why? What's going on here? Because I want to live like them. And I want to be abundant and I want to be free. And I don't want to be stuck down. It's not my reality. So I'm not feeding into it. Sorry, no, not feeding into it. I wonder what he thinks now, your mortgage advisor. I wondered if he went home and told his wife about this crazy woman. He probably did. He probably did, I don't know what he thinks. He probably thought I was a drug dealer. I think he did. I think he thought that I had a fella who was a drug dealer because he said to me, like, you've got your mortgage in principle, Catherine. I was like, yeah. What was his name? He was so nice, I was like, yeah. And he was like, this runs out in 6 months. Are you going to get £106,000 for your deposit? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. So I'm going to go and view the houses and I'll be in touch. And he was like, okay. And in his head, he probably thought, because back then I looked like a little Barbie doll. So I had like the long blonde hair and the big lips and the face full of makeup, and I've just walked in with my Louis Vuitton bag and pulled up in my Porsche and just strutted in like this fucking like delusional bitch. And he's probably thought, is she fuck smashing her business? She's got a fucking drug dealer as a fella. And then he probably thought that about the money when I nearly got fucking done for money laundering. He probably thought that was her fella's drug dealing money. But to be honest, I feel like they didn't think that in the bank. I think they knew how legit I was, because if it was drug dealer money, they probably would have thought she wouldn't be that stupid. She'd like try and blend it a little bit to just walk in like blasé, like I've got 20 grand, kind of put it in my bank. I feel like they must have thought, like, I don't think she would be that stupid. But I don't know what anyone thought of me. I have no idea, because they're not in my reality. My reality was, get this cash in your bank, get the solicitor on board and get the keys, and then pick your son up from Mackey's and say, I've just bought us our dream home, let's go. And that was literally the outcome, because I already lived it before any of that happened. So that brings me to 8 o'clock. I've just got a message off my son saying I'm ready now, come and pick me up. I'm going to pick him up from football. So I hope you liked my little story time, girls. I'm going to upload this on my YouTube as well, instead of the podcast that I've done. And if you feel the calling to do this work and you want to get involved with all this kind of stuff and the mindset work and just really going inwards, come and give my membership a go. Like, I've just had a few girls that I've just signed up for, and like 6 people joined the other day, and they're like, oh my god, I love this work. It really is different than just like doing the work. It's the real work. You really get to meet yourself and connect to yourself. And every week we do something different. So like I said, this Sunday we're going into the wounded masculine and really feeling into like the father wound and your relationships and how they play out. And every Sunday I go live, and every Sunday will be something different. So yeah, if you feel called, give me a message, or you can just sign up if you go on my Instagram, which is Catherine Worsley 444. You'll see it in the bio. All of my services are in the bio. But yeah, I'm going to go and pick my son up now from football. Thank you everyone who came, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another little session. See you soon, girls.